Let's go into the studio. Hi, my name is Regina, and if you don't know me, because how would you know me? It's my first YouTube video. I own a candle studio in Amsterdam, and I already have a following on Instagram and TikTok, and I asked you to ask me questions if you have anything to ask me. We're gonna split this video into two. So the first part is gonna be more questions regarding my business, and the second part are gonna be actual questions about candle making. I have all of your questions here on my iPad. The first question is, how did you find the courage to start? Like, there's so much competition. I think when you switch your vision of how you find other creators, then it's going to change your perspective as well. Now, social media can be an amazing thing, but it can also be the downfall of us all. If you change your perspective into instead trying to use social media for your benefit and posting your story and your creations, and try to actually communicate with small businesses or small creators that are your own size. If you have around like 1,000 followers and the only accounts that you follow are people that are like 1 million, 500k, 100k, it could be a little bit discouraging, you know, because they're in a different period of their journey. You know, you are not at the same level, but you will be eventually there, but just not right now, right? So I think the best thing is to surround yourself with people that are in the same period of their journey like you, and this way you can create an amazing community and you're not gonna feel so alone. I myself got in a lot of trouble for this because I kept comparing myself with other people, but in the moment where I just started to do what I wanted to do and stopped looking so much at other people, and not only that, but found creators that were in the same type of timing as me, it was so nice. Find your niche, whatever you want to do. Post on social media what you're doing. I think it's very important for you to build a community and people that do the same thing around you. And in order for you not to compare yourself so much, you can find inspiration in other creators, but don't actively follow only accounts that are so far in their journey. How long did it take you to be where you are in your business? I think it took me 2.5 years. When things started to pick up was last year, when I started to post consistently on TikTok, and people were starting to show like, oh, I like that. I didn't go from 1k to 50k in a day. It was just a gradual thing, and it was so beautiful, and I'm so grateful for that, because if I would go from 1k to 50k in a day, I, first of all, would be a bit scared, you know, because it's like, whoa, there's 50,000 people. But it took time. The first 2.5 years were literally nothing was moving, you know. It was also due to other factors that I'm going to talk later in the video. But not everybody's an overnight success, and I've seen stories, especially in candle making, with businesses that blew up all of a sudden, and it was just way too much for them to keep going. So there's also benefits to building a community and you know, starting slow. When you had no sales, did you ever think about ending everything? I admire your process. Thank you so much. Definitely, 100%. It could be so demoralizing. Is that an English word? But you know, when you put so much into something and you don't see anything in return. I myself quit quite a couple of times, to be really honest. I would go on social media, post for months, you know, progress, and then return after 3 months with my tail between my legs and be like, hi, I'm back. It's true what they're saying, consistency is key, and not only consistency but also improving your craft. So definitely I ended it multiple times until I found my flow, and then I continued to do it. And I think this ties in with another question, which was, where there are moments where you thought it won't work, or you always felt it's going to be big. I think at the beginning, even a lot of friends thought I was a bit crazy to ask 10 euros for a candle, because those were my prices, you know, because you can go anywhere in the Netherlands, Ethos, Kruidvat, or whatever, and buy them for cheap. I always believed in myself, except when I didn't. And that's absolutely normal, you know what I mean? Sometimes you just don't believe in yourself, and that's okay. But since I started to work a bit on my life and be super consistent with this, there is like a delusion in my mind that this is definitely gonna work. Even me filming this video, I at the moment believe with all my core that this is gonna work. I think it's a beautiful thing when you reach a point about any type of thing that you have in your life where you really, really believe in it, whether it's love or your career or anything. So I'm at that point and I'm happy, but it wasn't always like this. That's what I'm gonna say. It's not like an overnight thing, you know, you just get there where you really believe in it. Did Instagram help your business, or did you have clients before? I love your work. Thank you so much. Instagram, I have a love-hate relationship with Instagram because Instagram was the first platform that I started on, and then I started TikTok. But for the 2.5 years, I was literally on Instagram trying to do anything to get over the 1K followers that I have, just to try to build an audience. There were definitely people from Instagram that I still know, you know, first early customers, but I think my first early customers were probably from markets. I think that's where I got my clients first. I feel like TikTok helped me grow and get more customers, but once that audience transformed into Instagram and having some following there, I think Instagram is better for a community. So it's a great place, especially on Instagram stories, to discuss, show new ideas, stuff like this. I don't feel like TikTok gives me that, but TikTok gives me just the freedom of just posting whatever I want. So that is the difference, or how, at least how I see the platforms. But at the beginning, I want to say Instagram helped me tremendously. That's why I moved to TikTok. This one, it's an interesting one. How did you get inquiries? How did you get inquiries from companies, especially at the beginning? It's a small business. What I try to do is build a social platform, you know, a presence, so to say, to be there, to show the process and stuff. And I never really reached out to anybody. Every collaboration that I have, they reached out to me because they found me usually on TikTok. So this is my strategy at the moment, but in the future, if I would really like to work with certain type of brands, what I would advise to you guys as well is just to reach out. Just reach out. Like, what do you think? What can't go wrong? You know what I mean? Just reach out, tell them what you can offer from your end, and if they don't respond, they don't respond. If they respond, how cool. How was your experience selling at markets versus online business? I think my online business was quite dead until last year. At markets, let me put this way. I was so frustrated because online I wasn't doing so good until last year, because at markets I would like sell out. Like, people were like, oh my god, what is this? I've never seen something like this before. So the discrepancy was so big. In markets people were so low, but online I didn't have any traction because I didn't have people seeing my videos. I prefer obviously having online orders because I can fulfill them from the comfort of my home. But markets are an amazing way to connect with people, to connect with your customers, for people to ask questions, for people to see you, you know. I get a lot of social anxiety being outside, especially if you didn't know by now, I'm not Dutch, but I'm living in the Netherlands. I spreek een beetje Nederlands, maar niet zo goed. So it could be, it's actually quite difficult, you know, at markets when people ask me stuff and I just block myself because I'm in a social anxiety type of thing. And I also, well, what was the word? So for me at markets, it really helps me that my partner is there. He's Dutch as well. Well, he's Dutch. And so it's nice for him to take over a bit and help me. I love both of these experiences. I think if you're a small business, you should definitely go to a market. I remember my first market, I was in tears. I could almost cry now. I remember that they accepted me, and I was like in business for like 3 months or something like this. Like, I could cry. Like, I'm not even kidding you. And I remember when they approved it, I was so beneath myself. Like, I couldn't believe that something that I did was worthy to be at a market. Like, I really get emotional because it was such a nice thing, and I love the market where I go. I need to get out of that emotional state, excuse me. How long does it take you to prepare your collection? How do you define the stock quantity? Stock is tricky because you never know if something is gonna sell or not. So usually I make just like a small stock at the beginning, and then based on how many people order, I start to make them like by hand, because they are like handmade products, you know. And I also don't want to waste products by making like 200 candles at once, even though 200 is not even that much, just for them maybe not to go so good, you know. So I really prefer making them to order, you know. But if it's really overwhelming, if I know that product is really gonna hit, I make more. Regarding how long it takes for me to make a collection, it really depends. With moods, I never wanted to be about a specific type of candle. So when I started, I was doing just normal type of typo candles. Then I started to do realistic candles. Then I started to push back and make like normal simple candles with nice like labeling. And then I went into more realistic, more type of drink cocktail candles, you know. And I like the freedom to do whatever I feel like in the moment. You know, I never started doing only one little thing. So based on what I'm doing, that it really depends how long it takes me, right? I would not put something out that is not tested for at least like a month, because I need to make sure that it's not a fire hazard, you know? So I would say between 1 to 3 months. Hello, could you please share essential tools to start a candle business? Love your videos, by the way. Thank you so much. I think this is a great idea for another video. How nice would it be if I make a how-to video, you know, especially if you're just starting out with candle making, what kind of tools you need, and maybe also do it somehow like what type of tools you need on a budget, you know, because not everybody is willing to spend thousands of euros, you know, to start a hobby. So I'm gonna do that in a separate video. When will you open your first physical store? Now, when I first started moves, I remember my biggest thing was that I wanted to open a store. Opening a store is quite a scary thing. It's a lot of logistics, a lot of rent, it's a lot of things, a lot of investments that I'm not really sure I'm willing to do in the next couple of months, but it is something that is in my mind, especially with the type of things that I do. I think they definitely need more visibility, but I don't foresee it in the next few months. Please share some quotes to help those of us who can't seem to start their business. This is so funny because I remember this question. I was just on TikTok scrolling and I found this quote, which I feel like it's so fitting for any type of small business, and it says, make it exist first, you can make it look good later. I think we all get stuck into this thing of like, it needs to be perfect. Your branding, you see all these videos online, you know, like, but how is your logo looking? How is your site looking? How is your branding looking? Some of us are just creators that just put the camera and start filming ourselves, and this is what the way we want to go through it. I don't know, I think if you really get into your head so much about like, oh, this needs to be perfect, this is before I start, then you're never gonna start, because there's so many things that you need to figure out. Make it exist first, you can always make it look good later. This is so true. Please follow this advice. So these are some questions that you asked me regarding candle making, so issues that you've encountered, you know, while making candles. And the first question, and the one that I get on every single video that I make, is how to avoid frosting while working with soy wax. Do your candles get frosting? Absolutely, guys. Every type of candle gets frosting, not only the candles that I make or the type of glass that I make. If you really hate frosting, first of all, I'm just gonna say, just use a glass that is not transparent, you know, so you can't see the frosting. But frosting is a normal, natural thing that happens, and usually it has to do with the temperature of the wax. So either when you pour the wax is too hot, the glass is too cold, or even the wax is way too cold. I sometimes have this when I pour the wax and it's already at 50 degrees. I could already see it frosting, you know, and it's really, really annoying. But the first thing you need to do is to make sure that your glass is heated. I don't know if you want to put it in the microwave, whatever you want to do with it, just making sure it's warm. You could also use this little guy. You could also use this little guy. It's a heat gun. So you plug it in and you have a little thing and it makes it warm. And how do you know how warm something is? It's very easy. You get like a thermometer type of thing, and it will tell you, well, you can see it here, how many degrees it is. Super handy, you really need it. So make sure that the glass is really warm, and make sure that you're pouring the wax at the temperature that it needs to be poured in. How do I know the temperature that it needs to be poured in? It's very simple. You need to ask your provider, where do you buy your wax from? And usually soy wax is between 50 and 60. What I do is I pour it at 60. For people that don't know what frosting is, I'm not really sure if you're gonna see it here. Now, if you made already the candle and it's frosted, you know, you don't want to waste it, what you can do is you can get a heat gun and you can just go over it, you know, just to warm it up a bit. Now that we got that out of the way, finally, another question is, what dyes do you use? I personally use these type of chip dyes. Let me show you. I don't know if you can see them. They look something like this. They also have these liquid dyes. I am not the biggest fan of them because I don't feel like when I mix it with wax, they are very, very deep and strong as a color, and that's what I'm looking for, so that's why these chip dyes are the best for me. We also have mica powder, which is this one, and this is actually quite cute because it creates like a glittery effect in your candles, and I really love them. Can you use any glass for a candle? Absolutely not. Your glasses need to be heat resistant. You know, either you buy normal thick glasses that are made specifically for candles, or if you want to try out different type of things, I would definitely check with the person, a provider that you buy them from, just to make sure that the material can withstand heat. I also had another question, but I didn't screenshot it, I'm not really sure why, about wax melter. So the wax melter is what we use, right? It looks like this. Ready now? This is a wax melter, and some people have an issue that when they turn this thing on, nothing falls off, and that is because obviously the wax has hardened. So the best thing that you should actually do is to not let any wax solidify in the wax melter, but sometimes that happens, you know, you have a day where you're really tired, you don't really feel like taking the wax out, and that's perfectly fine. What you do is just reheat the wax completely, and then still you have this issue that it doesn't go through. So what I do is I actually pick a wick and I just place it inside of that little thing. It sounds very strange, and that way the wax gets away and it can normally flow again. I think we reached the end of the video. I think I answered all the questions that you placed for me. I really truly hope this video was helpful, at least for one person, you know, especially if you have questions regarding starting something and you feel a bit like, oh, should I do it, should I not? And I was super on my toes about like making this video or not, because I know I don't have the best equipment, I don't have the best light, microphone, camera, and all of this. But then when I was thinking about the answers for these questions, I remember how I started the video and the fact that you don't need to have all of the setup or everything perfect to start. So I'm just putting this video. I hope it helps you, and I will see you back on this channel when I make the video about what type of materials or what actually you need to start a candle business. And until then, I will see you on my TikTok and Instagram. And if you have any questions, don't forget to put them down below in the comments, because I will definitely answer them. Thank you for being here and actually making it until the end. I really appreciate it. Bye!